Before I ever call you my wife, there's something I need to promise you. Not a promise spoken during a ceremony. Not the kind written into vows that people repeat in front of family and friends. Those promises matter, of course. But the promise I'm thinking about is deeper than words spoken on a single day. It's the promise of the kind of husband I will choose to be long after the celebration ends. Because marriage is not built on one moment. It's built on thousands of ordinary days that follow. Days when life is simple. Days when life becomes complicated. Days when we feel strong. And days when one of us needs the other to be stronger. Before I ever stand beside you and call you my wife, I want you to understand what my heart is promising you. First, I promise you honesty. Not the convenient kind of honesty people use when everything is easy. The real kind. The kind that exists even when telling the truth is uncomfortable. Marriage cannot survive on half-truths or quiet secrets. Trust is the foundation of everything two people build together, and trust can only grow where honesty lives. There will be moments when life challenges us, moments when we disagree, moments when emotions become intense. But even in those moments, I promise to speak truthfully with you, not to hurt you, not to win arguments, but to protect the trust that our relationship will depend on. Because without trust, love slowly becomes fragile, and I never want our love to feel fragile. Second, I promise you respect. Respect is one of the quietest forms of love, but it is also one of the strongest. I promise to respect your voice, your opinions, your dreams, your independence. Marriage should never make someone feel smaller. It should make both people feel supported in becoming the fullest versions of themselves. Your dreams will matter to me just as much as my own. Your goals will not feel like something separate from our life together. They will become part of the future we build as partners, because partnership means walking beside each other, not standing in each other's way. Third, I promise patience. Life will not always be easy. There will be days when we feel tired. Days when stress from the outside world makes our emotions heavier than usual. Days when misunderstandings happen even though neither of us meant for them to. In those moments, patience will matter more than perfection. I promise to pause before reacting, to listen before judging, to remember that the person standing in front of me is not my opponent, but the woman I chose to spend my life with. Arguments will happen, but I promise they will never become battles, because the goal of love is not to win. The goal of love is to understand. Fourth, I promise loyalty. Loyalty is not just about remaining faithful, although that is sacred and unquestionable. Loyalty is also about protecting the emotional bond between two people. It means standing beside you when life becomes uncertain. It means defending our relationship from negativity, doubt, or outside pressure. It means choosing us even when circumstances try to pull our attention in different directions. The world is full of distractions. But loyalty means remembering what truly matters. And what will matter most to me is the life we are building together. Fifth, I promise effort. Love does not survive automatically. It requires care, attention, time. I promise to keep investing in our relationship even after years have passed, even when life becomes busy, even when responsibilities grow heavier. I will still find time to sit with you and talk about your day, to listen when you need to share something on your mind, to laugh with you about things that may seem small but become important memories later. Because those small moments are what create a life together. Marriage is not defined by big celebrations. It is defined by everyday presence, and I promise to remain present in your life. Sixth, I promise growth. Neither of us will remain exactly the same person over the years. Life changes people. Experiences shape our perspectives, our priorities evolve, but I promise to grow with you instead of drifting away from you, to keep learning about who you are becoming, to keep sharing who I am becoming, because the strongest marriages are not built on two people staying the same forever. They are built on two people growing together through every stage of life. And finally, I promise love. Not the temporary excitement people sometimes confuse with love, but the steady, quiet kind. The kind that shows itself through actions rather than dramatic words. Love that listens, love that supports, love that stays. Love that chooses the same person again and again through every season of life. Because forever is not created in a single promise. Forever is created through daily decisions, daily respect, daily patience, daily care. Before I ever call you my wife, I want you to know that these promises are already part of who I want to be. Not because marriage requires them, but because loving you deserves them. You will not be marrying a perfect man. Perfection doesn't exist. But you will be marrying a man who understands that your heart is something sacred, something that deserves protection, honesty, and care. And every day that we share together, I will do my best to honor that responsibility. Because the word wife is not just a title, it's a promise. A promise that the person standing beside you has chosen to walk through life with you, not just for the joyful moments, but for every moment that follows. And when the day finally comes that I look at you and call you my wife, I want you to already know something with complete certainty. The promises I made to you were never just words. They were the foundation of the life I intend to build with you forever. Before I call you my wife, there is something else I need you to understand about the promises I made. Promises are easy to say. Anyone can speak beautiful words when emotions are high and the future feels bright. Many people make vows in moments filled with hope, believing deeply in everything they are saying. But the real meaning of a promise is revealed later, not on the day it is spoken, on the days when life becomes ordinary, on the days when things don't go exactly the way we hoped. That is when promises are tested. And that is why I think about the promises I want to make to you long before the moment arrives when I call you my wife. Because I don't want them to be temporary feelings. I want them to be part of the person I choose to be for the rest of my life. There is one promise I haven't spoken about yet. A promise that may be more important than any of the others. I promise to protect your peace. The world outside our home will not always be gentle. Work will bring stress. Responsibilities will demand energy. Unexpected problems will appear at times when we feel least prepared to face them. That I want our home to feel different from the outside world. I want it to feel like a place where you can breathe. A place where you can speak openly about your worries without feeling judged. A place where your emotions are understood instead of dismissed. Because life becomes easier when you know there is someone waiting at home who genuinely cares about your well-being. I promise to be that person for you, not just during the happy moments when everything feels simple, but especially during the moments when life becomes difficult. If you have a hard day, I will listen. If something hurts your heart, I will stand beside you. If you feel overwhelmed by the world around you, I will remind you that you are not facing it alone. Marriage should never feel like another burden in someone's life. It should feel like a refuge. And I promise to do everything I can to make our relationship feel like that kind of refuge. Another promise I want to make to you is something many people forget to think about. I promise to never stop learning about you. It might sound simple, but it matters more than people realize. When relationships last many years, people sometimes begin to assume they already know everything about their partner. They stop asking questions. They stop listening with curiosity. They become comfortable with what they already understand and forget that people continue to grow and change over time. But I never want to stop discovering who you are. The person you are today will evolve. Your dreams may change, your interests may expand, your perspective on life will grow deeper with experience. And I want to keep learning about all of those changes. I want to know what inspires you 5 years from now, what excites you 10 years from now, what new dreams appear in your heart as time moves forward, because loving someone means loving that growth as much as loving who they are in the present. I promise to remain curious about your life, to ask questions, to listen carefully, to appreciate the ways you continue becoming more yourself as the years pass. There is another promise I need you to hear. I promise that you will never feel alone in your struggles. Everyone carries personal battles that others cannot always see. Moments of doubt, moments of fear, moments where the future feels uncertain. Those moments are part of being human. But when two people truly share a life together, those struggles should never feel isolated. If you are facing something difficult, we will face it together. Not because I believe I can solve every problem, but because no one should carry emotional weight alone when they have a partner who cares about them. Sometimes the most powerful support someone can offer is simply presence. Being there, listening, standing beside someone without trying to control the situation. And I promise to offer you that presence whenever you need it. Because partnership means sharing both strength and vulnerability. There will also be moments when I need that same support from you. Moments when life challenges me in ways I cannot handle alone. Marriage is not about one person always being strong while the other is always supported. It is about balance. Sometimes you will be the one who holds the strength. Sometimes I will. and together we will create stability that neither of us could achieve individually. Another promise I want to make is something many people overlook when they think about love. I promise to keep laughter alive in our relationship. Life can become serious very quickly. Responsibilities pile up. Schedules become full. People become so focused on solving problems that they forget how important joy is. But laughter keeps relationships healthy. It reminds two people that life is not only about responsibilities, it is also about moments of lightness. Moments where you laugh about something unexpected. Moments where you remember that happiness often appears in the smallest details. I want our life to include those moments. I want us to laugh together about things that only we understand. To share jokes that become part of our private language. To find humor, even on days when life feels stressful. Because laughter creates memories that stay with people long after the moment has passed. And I want our life to be filled with those memories. There's one final promise I want you to understand before I ever call you my wife. I promise that I will never take you for granted. People often begin relationships with gratitude and admiration, but as time passes, familiarity sometimes replaces appreciation. They become used to each other's presence, used to each other's kindness, used to the stability their partner provides. And without realizing it, they stop expressing the gratitude they once felt. I never want that to happen between us. No matter how many years pass, I want to remember what it means to have someone who chooses to share their life with me. I want to remember how rare it is to find someone whose heart aligns with your own. And I want to show that appreciation in the way I treat you every day. Through respect, through attention, through the simple actions that remind you that your presence in my life is something I value deeply. Because love is not something that should ever feel ordinary. Even when life becomes routine, the connection between two people should still feel meaningful. Before I ever call you my wife, I want you to know that these promises are not temporary emotions. They are commitments I carry in my heart. Commitments that will shape the way I treat you, not only during the joyful moments, but during every ordinary day that follows. Because the word wife means more than a relationship. It means responsibility, it means trust, it means two people choosing to walk through life together with honesty, patience, and care. And when the moment finally comes that I look at you and call you my wife, I want you to know that every promise I made to you was something I had already decided to live by. Not just for one moment, but for the entire life we will build together. Before I ever call you my wife, there's one more thing I need you to understand about the promises I'm making to you. Promises are not only about how we treat each other during beautiful moments. They are about how we behave during the quiet, ordinary days that make up most of life. Because life is not made only of celebrations. It is made of mornings when we wake up tired, of evenings when work has taken more energy than we expected, of days when nothing dramatic happens, yet those days quietly shape the story of our life together. Those are the days when love is truly revealed. Not through grand gestures, but through simple presence. Through the way we speak to each other. Through the way we listen when the other person needs to talk. Through the way we choose patience when it would be easier to react with frustration. And before I call you my wife, I want to promise you something about those ordinary days. I promise I will never treat them as insignificant. Many people believe love must always feel exciting to be meaningful, but real love grows stronger through routine, through the repeated moments where two people show up for each other again and again. The mornings where we share coffee before the day begins, the evenings where we talk about what happened while we were apart, the small traditions that slowly form without us even realizing when they started. Those moments may seem simple, but they are the foundation of a life shared together. I promise to appreciate them, because they are the quiet evidence that two people have built something stable and real. There is another promise I want to make to you. I promise to protect our communication. Communication is one of the most fragile and most important parts of any relationship. When communication disappears, misunderstandings grow. When misunderstandings grow, distance slowly follows. And distance is what eventually breaks many relationships apart. I never want silence to create distance between us. If something is bothering you, I want you to feel safe telling me. If something is bothering me, I promise to share it with honesty instead of letting it quietly build inside my mind. Because problems do not disappear when people ignore them. They disappear when two people face them together. That requires courage. It requires humility. It requires the willingness to say, let's talk about this, even when the conversation feels uncomfortable. but I believe those conversations strengthen relationships instead of weakening them. They remind both people that their connection is worth protecting. Another promise I want to make to you is about respect during difficult moments. It is easy to be kind when everything feels perfect, but true character appears when emotions are strong. There will be times when we disagree, times when stress affects our patience, times when one of us says something we regret. Those moments are part of being human, but I promise that even in those moments, I will treat you with respect. I will never allow anger to turn into cruelty. I will never allow frustration to turn into disrespect, because love cannot survive where respect is missing. Respect protects the emotional safety of a relationship. It reminds both people that even during disagreements, they are still partners, still on the same side, still committed to protecting what they have built together. There is another promise that matters deeply to me. I promise to celebrate your individuality. Marriage does not mean losing the person you are. It does not mean sacrificing your identity or your ambitions. The person I want to marry is someone strong, someone thoughtful, someone who has dreams and ideas that belong entirely to her. And I never want those dreams to disappear. I want to support them, encourage them. Be the person who reminds you that your goals matter. Because a healthy marriage does not limit growth, it multiplies it. Two people supporting each other's ambitions can achieve more than either of them could alone. I want our relationship to feel like that kind of partnership. One where both of us feel free to grow, while knowing we always have someone beside us who believes in our journey. There is also something I want to promise you about time. Time is one of the most valuable things a person can give. In a world filled with responsibilities and distractions, it is easy for people to become so busy that they forget to truly spend time with each other. But I promise that our relationship will never become something I take for granted. No matter how busy life becomes, I will make time for us. Time to talk, time to laugh, time to reconnect when life has pulled our attention in too many directions. Because relationships cannot survive on memories alone. They need continuous attention, continuous care, continuous presence. And I promise to give our relationship that presence. There's one final promise I want to make before I call you my wife. I promise to keep choosing you. Love is not only a feeling. Feelings come and go with circumstances. Love is a decision made every day. A decision to remain committed even when life becomes difficult. A decision to continue caring even when emotions feel complicated. A decision to protect the bond we share instead of walking away from it. Forever is not created by one promise spoken on a wedding day. Forever is created by thousands of daily choices. Choices to remain patient. Choices to remain loyal. Choices to continue believing that the relationship we built together is worth protecting. And I promise to keep making that choice. Again and again. Through every stage of our life together, before I ever call you my wife, I want you to know that these promises are not temporary emotions. They are part of the life I want to build with you. A life built on honesty, respect, patience, support, laughter, and the quiet understanding that two people have chosen each other for something lasting. Because the word wife carries a meaning far deeper than a title. It means that the person standing beside you has chosen to share their entire journey with you. And when that day finally comes, when I look at you and call you my wife, I want you to know something with complete certainty. Every promise I made to you was never meant to be just words. They're the foundation of the life I want to spend building with you every single day. Before I ever call you my wife, there is one more truth I want you to understand about the promises I've been making. Marriage is not the beginning of love. It is the continuation of something that has already proven itself through time, patience, and trust. Many people see marriage as a finish line, as if the moment two people say their vows, everything suddenly becomes secure forever. But I see it differently. Marriage is not an ending. It's the moment when two people formally promise to protect what they have already built together. And that protection requires something deeper than emotion. It requires intention. Every day of our lives together will carry choices, small choices that might seem insignificant in the moment, but that quietly shape the strength of our relationship over the years. The choice to listen when the other person is tired, the choice to stay calm when misunderstandings appear, the choice to prioritize the relationship even when life becomes busy. Before I call you my wife, I want you to know that I will approach those choices with care. Because love cannot survive on autopilot. It survives when two people continue choosing each other consciously. Another promise I want to make to you is about forgiveness. No relationship between two human beings will ever be free from mistakes. We will both have moments where we misunderstand each other, moments when we say something carelessly, moments when stress or exhaustion makes us react in ways we later regret. Those moments are inevitable. But what matters is how we respond afterward. I promise to approach those moments with humility, to apologize when I am wrong, to listen when you explain how something made you feel. Forgive when you make mistakes, just I hope you will forgive mine, because forgiveness protects the heart of relationship. Without forgiveness, small wounds slowly grow into lasting resentment. But when two people forgive each other with sincerity, they allow the relationship to heal and grow stronger. Another promise I want to make to you is about protection. Not the kind of protection that suggests you're weak. You are not weak. You are someone strong enough to walk through life with your own voice and your own strength. The protection I'm talking about is something different. It is the protection of our relationship. I promise to guard the trust we build together, to never allow outside influences to damage what belongs to us, to keep our private life respectful and secure. The world can be noisy. People have opinions about everything, but the life we build together should remain something sacred between us. Our conversations, our decisions, our dreams, those things will belong to us, and I promise to protect that space. There's another promise that matters deeply to me. I promise to continue appreciating you. Over time, many relationships lose the excitement of the early days. People become familiar with each other's presence. And sometimes that familiarity leads to something dangerous, taking each other for granted. But I'd never want to forget how special it is to share a life with someone who truly understands you. Even years after we are married, I want you to know that I still see you, not just as the person who shares my home, but as the woman I chose. The woman whose presence changed my life in ways I never expected. I promise to show that appreciation not only through words, but through actions, through the way I speak to you, through the attention I give when you share something important, through the small gestures that remind you that your presence in my life is something I value deeply, because love should never feel ordinary. Even when life becomes routine, the connection between two people should still feel meaningful. Another promise I want to make to you is about companionship. Marriage is more than romance. It is friendship. It is partnership. It is the quiet understanding that someone is walking beside you through every stage of life. I promise to be that companion for you, to share your joys and your worries, to celebrate your successes and support you when life becomes challenging. To be someone you can talk to not only about big decisions, but about the small details of everyday life. Because those small conversations are what create the feeling of home between two people. Home is not just a place, it is the presence of someone who understands you, someone who listens, someone who stays. And I promise to create that feeling with you. There is one final promise I want to make before I ever call you my wife. I promise to never stop choosing our love. Love is not something that remains strong automatically. It grows when two people continue nurturing it. It grows through patience, through respect, through the daily choice to remain committed to the relationship even when life becomes complicated. Forever is not built in a single moment. It is built through thousands of ordinary days where two people quietly decide that their connection matters more than anything else. And that is the decision I promise to keep making, not only on the day we marry, but every day after that. Before I ever call you my wife, I want you to know that these promises are not something I say lightly. They are not just words meant to sound beautiful. They are commitments that come from understanding how rare it is to find someone worth building a life with. And when the day finally arrives that I stand beside you and call you my wife, I want you to already know something with complete certainty. The promises I made to you are never meant to last only for a ceremony. They were meant to last for the entire life we will spend building together. Because loving you will not simply be part of my life. It will be one of the most meaningful responsibilities I will ever have. And it is a responsibility I will carry with pride, patience, and care for every day that we share together. Before I ever call you my wife, there is one final part of my heart I want you to understand. All the promises I've shared with you are important. Honesty, patience, loyalty, respect, protection, effort, each of them will shape the life we build together. But beneath all of those promises is something even deeper, a choice. Because love, in its truest form, is not just a feeling. Feelings rise and fall like waves. Some days they are strong, full of warmth and excitement. Other days they are quieter, softer, less dramatic. But the strength of a relationship is never measured by how intense the feelings are on a particular day. It is measured by the choice two people continue making again and again, even when life becomes complicated. Before I call you my wife, I want you to know that loving you will always be a choice I make consciously. Every morning when we wake up together, I will choose you. Every evening when the day has been long and tiring, I will choose you. Every time life offers distractions or challenges that test our patience, I will choose you. Because forever is not created by one big decision. It is created by thousands of small ones. Another promise I want to make to you is about the future we will share. The future is unpredictable. No one can promise that life will always be easy. There will be moments when plans change unexpectedly, times when things don't happen the way we imagined. But what I can promise you is that no matter how life unfolds, you will never face it alone. Your dreams will become part of my journey. Your worries will become something we face together. Your happiness will matter to me as deeply as my own. Partnership means sharing life fully, not only the victories, but also the struggles that help shape who we become. There will be moments when we feel proud of what we've built, moments when we look around and realize how far we've come together. And there will also be moments when we feel uncertain, when life challenges our patience and our strength. But I promise that in both of those moments, success and difficulty, you will find me beside you. Because marriage is not about walking ahead of each other. It is about walking side by side. There's another promise I want you to hear before I ever call you my wife. I promise to continue growing as a person. No one enters marriage as a finished human being. We're all still learning, still changing, still discovering new parts of ourselves as life unfolds. I promise that I will continue becoming a better partner for you as the years pass, learning how to communicate more clearly, learning how to understand your needs even when you don't say them out loud, learning how to be more patient when circumstances feel overwhelming. Growth will not stop after we marry. If anything, it will become even more important. Because the strongest marriages are not built on two people staying the same forever. They are built on two people who grow together. And I want us to grow together in every stage of life. Another promise I want to make to you is about time. Time is one of the most precious gifts people can give to each other. In a busy world where responsibilities constantly compete for attention, it can become easy to forget how important it is to simply spend time together. But I promise that no matter how full life becomes, I will always make space for us, for conversations that have nothing to do with responsibilities, for laughter that reminds us why we fell in love in the first place, for quiet moments where we sit together and simply enjoy each other's presence. Those moments are not small. They are the foundation of a lasting relationship. Because love grows strongest in the time people share. There is also something I want you to know about the way I will see you as the years pass. Time will change both of us. We'll grow older, our lives will evolve. But I promise that the way I look at you will always carry the same appreciation it did the day I realized you were someone I wanted to build a future with. I will never stop seeing the person you are. Not just the roles life may give you, not just the responsibilities you carry, but the woman whose heart, strength, and kindness made me believe in forever again. Because that is the part of you that matters most. And that is the part I will continue loving through every season of life. There is one final truth I want you to understand before I call you my wife. Marriage is not about perfection. It is about commitment. It is about two people who decide that their connection is worth protecting, nurturing, and growing through every stage of life. We will make mistakes. We will have moments when we misunderstand each other. But what will matter is that we never stop trying, never stop listening, never stop believing that what we have built together is worth the effort it takes to protect it. Because love that lasts is not effortless. It is intentional. It is patient. It is strong because two people care enough about each other to keep choosing the relationship even when life becomes complicated. Before I call you my wife, I want you to know that loving you will never feel like an obligation. It will feel like an honor to share my life with someone whose heart aligns with mine, an honor to wake up each day knowing that the person beside me is someone I respect, admire, and care for deeply. And when the moment finally arrives that I look at you and call you my wife, I want you to already understand something important. Every promise I made to you was never meant to be temporary. They were the promises of a man who understands how rare it is to find someone worth building a life with. And once he finds that person, he chooses her. Not only in a ceremony, but in every day that follows. Because forever is not created by words. Forever is treated by the life two people build together, and if you become my wife, that life will be the greatest story I will ever have the privilege to live. Before I ever call you my wife, there is something deeper I want you to understand about everything I have promised so far. All the promises I've shared with you, honesty, patience, loyalty, respect, protection, effort, forgiveness, are not just ideas that sound beautiful when written in words. They are choices that will shape the way I live every day with you, because marriage is not built through one emotional moment, it is built through daily living, through the thousands of small interactions that slowly form the story of two people sharing the same life. And before that life begins, there is one more promise I want to make. I promise to protect your heart. Your heart is not something I will ever take lightly. It carries your memories, your hopes, your fears, and every experience that has shaped the person you are today. You will be trusting me with something incredibly precious when you become my wife, and I promise I will never treat that trust carelessly. There will be moments when life becomes stressful, moments when emotions run high, moments when patience feels harder than usual. But even in those moments, I promise to remember that your heart is something sacred, something that deserves kindness, understanding, and protection. I will never intentionally hurt it. And if I ever make a mistake that causes pain, I promise I will face that mistake with humility and do everything I can to make things right again. Because love is not about avoiding mistakes. It is about caring enough to repair them. Another promise I want to make to you is about the life we will create together. A relationship is not only about emotions between two people, it is also about the environment they build around themselves, the atmosphere of their home, the tone of their conversations, the way they treat each other when no one else is watching. I promise that our home will always be a place filled with respect, a place where your voice matters, a place where your thoughts are heard and valued, a place where laughter is welcome and silence is comfortable, a place where you can truly relax and be yourself without feeling like you need to hide parts of who you are. Home should feel like peace, and I promise to help create that peace with you. There's another promise that means a lot to me. I promise to walk beside you, not ahead of you and not behind you. Marriage is not about control. It is not about one person leading while the other follows. It is about partnership. It is about two people walking through life together, supporting each other's strengths, and helping each other through weaknesses. There will be moments when you are the stronger one, moments when your wisdom and calmness guide us through challenges, and there will be moments when I need to step forward with strength for both of us. But neither of us will ever be alone in the journey, because partnership means carrying life's weight together. Another promise I want you to hear is about appreciation. Over time, familiarity can make people forget how special their partner truly is. They become used to each other's presence, used to each other's kindness, used to the stability their relationship provides. And slowly, without realizing it, they stop expressing the gratitude they once felt. But I promise that I will never stop appreciating you. I will never forget that you are someone who chose to share your life with me. Someone who trusted me with your heart and your future. Even years after we marry, I want you to feel valued, to feel seen, to feel understood. Because appreciation is what keeps love alive even when life becomes routine. Another promise I want to make is about dreams. Your dreams matter. Your ambitions matter. Your passions matter. Marriage should never make someone feel like they must abandon their dreams in order to maintain a relationship. Instead, it should create the support system that allows those dreams to grow. I promise to encourage the things that inspire you, to listen when you talk about your goals, to celebrate your achievements with genuine happiness, because this success will never feel like something separate from my life. It will feel like something we are building together. And I want to be the kind of husband who stands proudly beside you as you pursue the life that excites you. There is also a promise I want to make about time. As the years pass, life will bring responsibilities, work, family, unexpected obligations. Many people allow those responsibilities to slowly replace the time they once dedicated to their relationship. But I promise that no matter how busy life becomes, our connection will never be something I neglect. I will always make time for us. Time to talk. Time to laugh. Time to reconnect when life has pulled our attention in too many directions. Because relationships cannot survive without attention. And I promise to give ours the attention it deserves. Finally, there is one last promise I want you to hear before I call you my wife. I promise to keep choosing you. Love is not something that happens only once. It is something that must be chosen again and again through the years. chosen on the easy days, chosen on the difficult days, chosen even when emotions feel complicated or life feels overwhelming. Forever is not created through a single promise spoken on a wedding day. Forever is created through the quiet decision to keep loving the same person every day that follows. And that is the decision I promise to keep making. Before I ever call you my wife, I want you to know that these promises are not temporary emotions. They are commitments that will shape the way I live with you for the rest of our lives. Because the word wife carries a meaning far deeper than a title. It represents trust, partnership, responsibility. And when the moment finally arrives that I look at you and call you my wife, I want you to already know something with complete certainty. The promises I made to you were never just words. They were the foundation of the life I will spend every day trying to build with you. A life built on respect, a life built on patience, a life built on loyalty and understanding. And most importantly, a life built on the quiet but powerful decision to love you not only today, but for every tomorrow that follows. The truth is, even after making all those promises, there is still something deeper I want you to know before the day arrives when I finally call you my wife. Because promises are important, but understanding the heart behind them matters even more. I want you to understand the kind of love I am trying to build with you. Not the kind of love that exists only during beautiful moments. Not the kind that appears strong when life is easy and disappears when things become complicated. The love I want with you is quieter than that, stronger than that, more patient than that. I want a love that survives ordinary days. Because most of life is ordinary. It is mornings where we are both half awake, drinking coffee and talking about simple things. It is evenings where we sit together without saying much, but still feeling close. It is long weeks of work, responsibilities, and small routines that make up the rhythm of life. Some people think love fades during those ordinary moments, but I believe something different. I believe that real love is revealed in those moments, in the way we greet each other after a long day, in the way we listen when the other person needs to talk, in the way we quietly support each other without needing applause for it. Those are the moments that build a lasting relationship. And that's the kind of life I want with you. I want to wake up beside you years from now and still feel grateful that you chose me. Not because everything in our life will always be perfect, but because we chose to build something meaningful together. There is another truth I want to share with you. I am not a perfect man. There will be days when I am tired, days when stress makes me quieter than usual, days when I may struggle to express exactly what I feel. But even on those days, one thing will remain constant: my intention to love you with sincerity. Love is not proven through perfection. It is proven through effort, through the willingness to keep trying, through the courage to admit mistakes, through the patience to repair what becomes damaged. And I promise you that I will never stop trying. Because loving you will never be something I treat casually. There's also something I want you to remember whenever life feels uncertain. You will never have to face the world alone once you become my wife. Life has a way of surprising us with challenges we never expected. There will be moments when plans change, moments when we must make difficult decisions, moments when the future feels unclear. But in those moments, I want you to remember something simple. You will have a partner, someone who stands beside you when things are uncertain, someone who listens when you need to speak, someone who reminds you that no challenge is faced alone anymore. That is what partnership truly means. Not perfection, not constant happiness, but loyalty during every chapter of life. Another thing I want you to know is that love evolves. The love we feel at the beginning of our story will not look exactly the same years later, and that is not something to fear. Because love that evolves becomes deeper, more mature, more resilient. In the beginning, love may feel exciting and new. Later, it becomes something steadier, something calmer, something that feels like home. And I want us to welcome that evolution instead of resisting it, because the most beautiful relationships are the ones that grow with time, the ones where two people learn each other more deeply with every passing year, where comfort replaces uncertainty, where trust replaces doubt, where the connection between two people becomes stronger than anything life tries to place between them. I also want you to know that I will never stop being curious about you. Even after years together, I want to keep learning the small things that make you who you are. Your thoughts, your ideas, the things that excite you, the things that challenge you. I never want to reach a point where I assume I already know everything about you. Because the truth is, people continue to grow throughout their lives. And I want to grow with you. I want to witness the different versions of you that time will reveal, and I want to support each one of them. Another promise I quietly carry in my heart is this: I will protect the joy between us. Life can become serious very quickly. Responsibilities multiply. Schedules become crowded. Worries try to take up space in our minds. But even during those seasons, I want us to protect something important: our ability to laugh together, our ability to be playful, our ability to remind each other that life is not only about obligations, it is also about the moments of happiness we create along the way. Laughter is powerful. It reconnects people. It softens difficult days. It reminds two people why they fell in love in the first place. And I want laughter to always live inside our home. There's also something I want you to understand about commitment. Commitment does not mean life will never challenge us. It means we will never stop choosing each other while facing those challenges. Some people see marriage as the finish line of a love story, but I see it differently. Marriage is the beginning of the real journey. It is where two people stop imagining the future and begin building it together. Day by day, choice by choice, moment by moment. And I look forward to that journey more than anything, because building a life with someone you love is one of the most meaningful experiences a person can have. There's one last thought I want to leave you with tonight. Before you become my wife, before we stand together and make our vows, I want you to understand something about the way I see you. You are not simply someone I love. You are someone I respect deeply, someone I admire, someone whose presence has changed the way I think about the future. And that respect is what makes my love for you strong, because admiration does not fade easily. It grows stronger when you witness someone's character over time. And every time I imagine our future, I feel grateful that the person standing beside me will be you. The woman who chose to walk this path with me. The woman who trusted me with her heart. The woman who will one day hear me speak the words I have been preparing for all along. My wife. When that day arrives, I want those words to carry the full meaning they deserve. Not just a title, but a promise, a partnership. A shared life built on love, respect, and a quiet understanding that we are stronger together than we could ever be apart. Until that day comes, I will continue preparing myself to be the man worthy of calling you my wife. And when I finally do, I hope you will already know something important. My heart was never waiting for anyone else. It was always preparing for you.